Good evening, good evening, good evening, and happy Sunday, everybody. We are back with another episode of Chit Chat Podcast today. And even though today is kind of gloomy and wet, and the weather is kind of nasty in certain areas, we are so excited today because today we get to celebrate our veterans. And so we know that tomorrow is the Veterans Holiday and it is recognized on November 11th. However, our show is today, so we're gonna highlight our veterans today, and kind of make sure that we celebrate them as well. So, if you're checking in and chiming in today, come on, send those chats in, chime in, let us know where you're chiming in from, and if you're a veteran, please let us know that you're a veteran and what service or branch of service that you served in. So, without further ado, Veterans Day holiday is tomorrow. So that holiday is to recognize our veterans. And people say, well, what makes veterans? I mean, because a lot of people get the misunderstanding that people who are active duty military who are still serving, are they considered veterans? A veteran is a person who has served. So if you have served in the military at least 90 plus consecutive days and 30 or more days in contingency, you are eligible to be a veteran. And that's in any branch or department of service. So this includes our Department of Air Force, the Army, the Marines, the Navy, the Coast Guard, and now we have an added service with the Space Force. So if any of those that you have served in at least 90 plus days or 30 days or more in a contingency, then you have the eligibility to be recognized as a veteran. So with that being said, hello and chime in. We want to definitely recognize you guys today as you go out tomorrow and enjoy tomorrow. Some of the things that most veterans get to do on Veterans Day. I know that there's a lot of restaurants like to recognize our veterans, which is, I think, is phenomenal. It has grown over the years. I've never hardly participated before, but now, as I'm getting older and stuff, I'm like, let me reap some of my benefits of going out and enjoying the Veterans Day giveaways that most restaurants and services provide for veterans on Veterans Day. So, and then, Veterans Day is my mother's birthday. So happy heavenly birthday to you, Mom. You are definitely missed, and every day. So it doesn't change. When I think about her, and no matter how long it's been, she departed us in 2018. But no matter how long it's been, I'm always thinking of the great things from when I was a little girl up until my mother left us in 2018. So happy heavenly birthday, Mom. You are definitely missed. She was a veteran's babe. So we're definitely excited to shout that out for her and to my siblings out there. Hopefully they go ahead and put a nice little placing on Mama's grave while they're there in Georgia. But check in, guys. Check in. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Check in. I've been on travel, so I'm looking a little rough today. But you see the Army green. And I represents the Army, but I was definitely an Air Force veteran. So because I was an Air Force veteran, I decided to put on some, Army green color today to commemorate Veterans Day. I didn't know where my BDU top that has my name and stuff on there. I didn't have time to look for that because I been gone away for the weekend. But if you're a veteran, please chime in. Man or woman, it doesn't matter. We're recognizing our veterans on today. So if you're in, we already said what veterans are. Veterans are a person who has served in the military at least 90 plus days and 30 more days in the 30 more days in contingency. So if that is you and you feel like, I've served in whatever branch and you want to be recognized, chime in, post it in the chat, let us know. We would definitely like to recognize you guys as well as myself with some other veterans, but I definitely want to make sure. And if you got pictures that you would like to share and for us to post your pictures for Veterans Day, please do that as well. I was thinking about doing that earlier and it left my mind as far as like sending it to my daughter so we can have it on here. Some of my pictures from the Air Force, but I know I got some Air Force friends who are on my podcast, who chime in on my podcast from time to time. So my fellow Air Force vets, if it's you and if you're on, I need you guys checking in. I definitely need the Air Force checking in. Like, the best services out there. I need you guys checking in. So all my Air Force vets, I need you checking in, but as well as the other services. If you were part of the Army, Marine, Navy, Coast Guard, or even now Space Force, please let us know. Chime in. We want to definitely celebrate you as we prepare for Veterans Day tomorrow. I know a lot of cities are doing some things as far as for Vets Day. A lot of restaurants do food, free meals or whatever for the vets to celebrate and commemorate Veterans Day. But there's a lot of other places that do things like a veterans parade and, different ceremonies, and if you've ever been to one, very solemn ceremony, but very worthy to go to one and have. If I think it's wonderful that people are, expanding what they seem to, think is worthy for that holiday to be acknowledged. Because when you think about our veterans, whether they served, domestically or overseas or in wartime, they sacrifice a lot. So if they're sacrificing time away from their family, their loved ones, their kids, spouses, or whatever, that's time. So I did a total of 14 years in the Air Force and decided to leave it. I left it in December of 2007. Well, officially April 2007 when my leave and all that stuff was over. But April 2007, I decided to give up because, my dad had got sick and he had dementia and he went through dementia so quickly. And I remember when I put in my paperwork to get closer back home because of his sickness in December, I was stationed in Washington State at Fairchild Air Force Base. I remember putting in that paperwork and they denied it. And I was like, what? How y'all denied this? His doctor sent something in or whatever. I'm trying to get close back to home. So I'm trying to get to either Moody or Robins Air Force Base, somewhere in Georgia. And they denied it and it crushed me. And so out of hostility of me not getting what I needed or wanted at the time to get closer back to home, to be near my dad or whatever, I decided to not finish out the remainder of my time. And I did what they call the Palace Chase program the Air Force was offering at the time. And you would be able to be released from active duty. But the remainder time you had on your enlistment, you would double that time and serve the rest of that time in the reserve. And that's what I did. So I did the rest of my time on my enlistment in the reserve at Robins Air Force Base after I separated off of active duty. So I had that privilege of doing that. And it put me back home to be near my dad. So that gave me an opportunity. And when I tell you that this was December when all that got denied, and my dad passed away in January. So, and he had got diagnosed. We found out the diagnosis in October. So that was October. I did the paperwork when I found out the diagnosis. December, they denied it, and he passed away in January. So that's how quick it happened. So, providing, however the military, see fit to do certain things. That was my reason, or creating my veteran status. I gave up those years of active duty, I had a hostility moment. And if I thought about it and went back and rethought what I went through and that process or whatever, I probably would have stayed in and finished my 20 there. Um, but I was able to buy back my time from active duty time onto my civil service time, which is my government time. So, so now I have it on my government years. So when I retire in the next few years from the government, all those years from the military is added onto that time that I work from the government. So it'll be added time on. So that's one of the added benefits. You know, if you're a veteran and you're working civil service or government job, and you didn't retire from the armed services, you have that status where you can be provided the opportunity to buy back your active duty time and add it on to your civil service or federal government time. That way you don't start from the bottom. And I think that's one of the great benefits that we have as prior service members and veterans. So, but yeah, who do we have? You guys check in. Let me know, who do we have? Hi, hon. Somebody said Facebook. You have to put your name because I can't see your name. It just, oh, that's me. Hey, Tequila. Jada can see your name. I can't see your name. But hey, honey bun. Yeah. So in look, it's veteran status have its privileges for sure. So if you're just not joining us, it says, hi, Lisa, my sister-in-law, Lisa. So Veterans Day is a salute to all those who have served. And when we're talking about serve, we're talking about those who are no longer serving and who have been provided an official, separation document from any of the armed services, Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard, or now Special Space Force. If anyone has received the separation document, which is the DD 214, if you're a military person, people are definitely going to ask you that. Where's your DD 214? That officially establish you as a vet when you're released from the military. So when you have that DD 214, is like the golden ticket for jobs. When you're seeking jobs in your prior military service, that DD 214 is like, it needs to be attached to your resume. So it's your official separation and your notification that this is a person who served in the military. It's an active document, with your status, your armed services status. So just a little tidbit for you guys with that. There's different types of veteran status. You have people who come off a veteran, come into veteran status off of active duty, and sometimes they'll come in as a disabled vet. And when you look at disabled veterans, you're looking at people who have been qualified as being disabled at least 10% or higher in something. So if there's a issue that a vet had, prior medical issue while serving the military, and they separated from the military with their DD 214, their official document, you would see some of the veterans having the disabled veteran status. And with that disabled veteran status, it provides them an opportunity to receive benefits. And those benefits are received by the Veterans Administration. So you'll see a lot of veterans. You'll see them with the tags and the different things that they're receiving, the resources they're receiving outside of the military with that status. And then you also have your combat war vets. These are your vets who have probably were separated from the military during combat time, that maybe got injured and can no longer serve in the military due to those injuries during combat. So you'll have, those will be your, service medal people, like your Purple Hearts and, Peace Medal and different stuff like that. Those kind of combat medals. And then you have your campaign like vets. These are vets who served in during wartime, like Operation Iraqi Freedom, Enduring Freedom, um, and all the others. There's other, most people know everything about the Vietnam War. So you'll see a lot of older people. I think we're coming to an end of a lot of Vietnam vets because they're so aged now. So a lot of the Vietnam vets are aging out on us. So now you start seeing the older group will probably be more of your old 90s Desert Storm and Korean war vets are probably be the more of the older ones now, as the Vietnam vets era is kind of like, expiring out. But then you'll have your other ones like, on the most recent, like, Afghanistan and Iraq and Enduring Freedom, which was, some of the most recent war campaigns. So, and then you have, in all those categories, each vet has entitlements that they can receive based off the things that transpired during their time. So again, if it was an injury, they'll receive benefits, they'll receive disabled status, different things. So, and it's not just monetary, they get other resources like schooling and, opportunity resources for them to get, another set of trade, because people, you got to think people get out in the military and that's all they know is the military or what they did in the military, and they want to do something different. So the VA provides them an opportunity to get trained or get a skill set in something else, and then they can go out and do something else. So yeah, because I'm not doing nothing that I didn't. I was in communications, combat communications. So I'm not doing anything right now in communications. The only thing I communicate is when I'm briefing or whatever for my job. But as far as like installation of communication stuff, telephone systems and things like that of nature, I ain't touched that stuff in years. So, but I ain't forgot it either. So you give me some Cat5 cable or whatever and tell me to install a jack or something for you, I can do it still. So just like riding a bike, you don't forget it. So, and plus I wanted to make sure I knew how to do my job well anyways, because there wasn't a lot of ladies in that career field. And I wanted to make sure when I did my job, I did it well because of that reason. So if you're a veteran checking in, VA letters, yes, VA letters are offered and out there as well. You can go on va.gov, the Veterans Administration. If you're a vet and you have not registered in the VA system, please do that. Whether you feel like you entitled to anything or not, still register in to the VA system. Soon as you separate from the military, get discharged from the military, whatever the case may be, register into the VA system. You get your entitlements there. However, medical stuff, you can be seen there medically. It helps with, people who not trying to pay all that expensive medical from their regular jobs, and they can go be seen at the VA and it's no cost to them. And then there are different statuses which are coverage with the VA, depending on your disabled veteran percentage. You have those who are at 10%, 20, 30, 50, 70, 80, 90, and all the way to 100. And if you're 100% vet, you're entitled to everything that the VA offers. And so, and not only just you, your dependents or, family members are also entitled to that as well. So, you have to make sure that you know all these things. So when you're looking to say, hey, I didn't know I can get that, I didn't know I was entitled to that. Yes, VA provides all those resources. So, not just medically or whatever. So, but it behooves you, if you are discharged from the military for any reason, and it's an honorable discharge, sign up and get registered in the VA system. So that way you can be seen, at least put in the system. Even if you feel like there's nothing that you feel like you can apply for VA status or, for disability or whatever, still sign up in the VA system, because there's so many resources out there. And we want to make sure that we use those resources, because every year those VA benefits entitlements tend to get challenged, you know, and depends on who's in office, what administration is in office. A lot of people are not VA supported and veteran supported. And so, when it's time for budgets to get cut, one of the main budgets that'll get cut is the VA. And that's because it's not highly supported. If people are not highly supported of military or veterans who have served, then it's easy for people that sit up in the Senate, in the House, in Congress to say, hey, let's cut that budget, So, but I would think that that should be a budget that never be touched, because there's so much that is needed for all veterans. Sometimes I look at mine and I'll be like, there's so many people who have it so much worse than me. But at the same time, I'm glad that it's available and I have those resources available, because, the entitlement has helped my children. When they came on and did the college segment, they talked about how, some of their schooling and stuff was entitlements were given to them, based off their mother serving from the Air Force or whatever. And that's what they're talking about, those VA benefits. So as a veteran, those entitlements, not only come to me, but they're also passed down to my children. And so, when your child get to a certain age or status in college, they're no longer eligible for it. But, up until that time, get those benefits, get them, because that's what they're there for. Hey, that's my brother, JB. Hey, honey. I seen you wrapping that Yale sweatshirt yesterday. I loved it. So yeah, and somebody put 5-point preference. Yeah. So I'm going to touch on that. 5-point preference is if you're a veteran and you are applying for any jobs within the federal government. I'm not sure if the state or state and local governments do those entitlements for prior service. But I know the federal government, if you're applying for jobs and you're using your VA status to help, because if you get certain points based off your VA status. So if you're at least 30% disabled veteran, you'll get 5 or 10 points based off of that. So what happens is if I apply for a job and I'm going against a regular Joe Blow and we're both going to the job, I have precedence over that job than he, because of not only my skill set based off the resume, but the added benefit is those points and things that I get based off of my veteran status. So that's how a lot of vets, you see a lot of vets retire or get out in the military and they go work for a company or go work for the government. And you'd be like, God, they just left the military and went straight to the government and got a job or whatever. It's not hard for them, because if they already in the VA system and have a 5-point, 10-point preference over regular resumes that's coming in there, they're going to beat people out every time. So that's one of the added benefits as well. Those point preference that you get when you're applying for jobs and competing against other people who are non-vets. So somebody said, make sure to upload and submit with all application on USA Jobs. Absolutely. So when you're applying for jobs and you want to use your VA status or whatever, make sure that you are uploading everything that it requires. If it's asking for your DD 214 to see your eligibility of being a vet and having vet status, upload that 214 on there with your resume or whatever else is asking, or if it's asking for transcripts or whatever, make sure everything that they're asking for is uploaded. But definitely that DD form 214, because that establishes you as a vet in any system based off of your time that you've served. So somebody else says better. Yeah. And the veteran preference. Yeah. So the veteran preference, again, is based off what that D-214 have you establish as, and your VA letters that gives your establishment of your percentage rate. So if I'm a disabled vet, then I can pull my VA letters, that gives a formal statement saying this person is, 10%, 50% or whatever disabled, and and is entitled, so you'll have those letters that you can pull from the VA and attach that as well for your VA status if you're trying to get the 5 points or 10 points added for your recruitment purposes when submitting for job resumes. We use category rating, and if you're a 30% or more, you will be floated in the best qualified category. Absolutely. I've always been in the 30% or more. So every time I've applied for a job and utilized my veterans preference in applying for that job, I've gotten every job. So, so it helps. If you're 30% or more, definitely utilize, your VA preference when you're applying for jobs. It helps you when you're competing for those jobs. I mean, it separates you big time, put you above everybody else. So I would definitely say, and who was that sent that? That's somebody in human resource that sent that, because they know that. We use category rating. Yeah. So whoever sent that works in human resource for sure. Also, veterans must be selected before non-veterans. Yes. Yeah, I said that. You get precedence over those who are applying. So that's it's Tinka. Hey, Tinka, cousin. I still call her cousin. She's still my cousin. But yeah, it definitely give you that status above everybody else. So when you're applying, yeah, definitely utilize your preference and apply. And and most jobs now will have that attached to the job. They'll have like the veteran established, it'll have it attached to the job. So like if you want to utilize that, then you'll see that, hey, it's a veteran, categorized job. So I can use my preference at that. So it behooves you to make sure that you, if you're going to check off and say, I'm doing that, because it's a spot on USA Jobs where you have to verify that you're utilizing, if you're a vet, you're utilizing that. So, but yeah, she said, hey, cuz always. Of course, girl. It's been some years, 25 years, girl. I was thinking about that the other day when I was thinking about the grandparents. Yep, 25 years. Could Jada be 25? So it's been 25 years, 25, 26 years. So yeah. Yep. So, but check in, veterans. So let me do this. So if I got some Army vets online right now, that's what they say, Army. If I got some Army vets online right now, chime in, Army vets. Let me know where you checking in from. So that way we can holler and shout you out as an Army vet. So we'll start with the Army. If we got some Army vets on right now, go ahead and chime in the chat where you're checking in from. So we want to definitely make sure we salute you for Veterans Day. So all my Army vets, chime in, Army vets. Let's get you recognized. We'll say the best. We'll say the best service for last. Y'all already know I'm biased for the Air Force. I'm biased. I'm biased with it. It's the best. Look, anytime anybody's asking me about any services, I'll tell them, I think all of the services are worth serving in. However, if you want one that stands above the rest with a great quality of life, from the time you get in there to the time you end, I think the Air Force will be that services for you. So, I'm always going to be pitching for that. So, Air Force, I'll be putting y'all out there, a lot. So my nephew about to be part of the Air Force family. So I'm pretty excited for him. So yeah, wouldn't do it any other way. When my son was being recruited and the Air Force Academy wanted him. And oh my God, that was a big thing for me. And I was like, yay, went there. When I tell you they pulled out the red carpet for us when we went there on the football official visit, I mean, everything was just top notch. So we loved it. I mean, it was beautiful in Colorado. We loved it. I loved it so much. And they knew I loved it because I was prior Air Force. So they thought they had my baby in the bag with that. Like, oh, his mama and his daddy was prior Air Force, kind of thing. And then he kind of like had did a verbal commit. And I was like, didn't know that behind the scenes. I wanted to choke him. But yeah. But once he got his other offers or whatever, he quickly decommitted. But not that he didn't think highly of the visit or the Air Force Academy. He just wanted to have his full college experience, and he thought being a part of the Air Force Academy and even Army, because Army offered him as well. He decided he didn't want to do any of those because he wanted to have real life college life. And y'all see how he living now, right? If he ain't having real life college life, that jug could be all over the place. But he couldn't meet me in New York last night, but always in New York. But yeah, these college kids, I tell you. But yeah, I acknowledge my 100% disabled vet, Andrew Dwayne. Hey, yes. What was his ranking? Sergeant first class? Was he sergeant first class? Or sergeant major? Let me know what his rank was. But we salute you, Andrew Dwayne Tate, 100% disabled Army vet out of Alabama, out of Phoenix City, Alabama. So we salute you. Happy Veterans Day to you. And we know that you are a well-kept vet who's giving back to the community with your business for your y'all still have the business? Did y'all do the bus, taking people on trips and different things like that? Let me know if y'all still doing that. I don't want to chime that out if y'all not still doing that. But he's giving back to the community. Him and his wife both serve, in their community, in the church. His wife works on base at Fort Bennett in Columbus. So in that area. So yeah. The military been good to the Tate family. So we certainly appreciate you, Andrew Dwayne Tate, an Army vet out of Phoenix City, Alabama. So thank you for chiming in with us today, and you're with your wife. So we appreciate that. So any other Army vets before we go to another branch? Any other Army vets out there? I know Tequila is an Army vet. Tequila was watching with us. So Tequila is an Army vet. So happy Veterans Day to you, Tequila. She is definitely, y'all see Tequila on sometimes when in my absence. Her and my daughter normally be hosting and co-hosting together. So yeah, Tequila is an Army vet. So shout out to you. Tequila, happy Veterans Day to you. I'm trying to think. My nephew, Michael Martin, we call him Moody. He's an Army vet out of Moultrie. Currently live in the Seattle, Tacoma, Washington area. So he did a lot of serving time up there and just went back up there and made that home for him. I think his dad lived up there as well before he passed away. So yeah, he's an Army vet. So happy Veterans Day to you, nephew. I'm trying to think of who else I know that's Army. I don't know a lot of Army people. So, but we certainly want to appreciate you guys. Make sure you go out tomorrow. A lot of the communities do feed the vets for free and provide veterans with a free meal and different things. So make sure you go get that stuff tomorrow. It's a holiday. So I really need Gerald on here. Gerald, one of my friends that I was stationed with, we were stationed in Okinawa together, but he lives up here in the DC area. And every year I watch him during Veterans Day go to the different establishments, and he be racking it up. He be at this place, and he's so little. I don't know how he be going to eat at all these places, but he do. and he makes sure that he put it out there, like, I'm at this place now, I'm at this place now, I went and got dessert here, I did this. It'd be so fun to watch. I cannot do it. I might go to one place if it's breakfast or lunch or dinner thing, and that's it. I might get one meal out the whole thing if I do that. So, but there's people who they'll go for breakfast somewhere, lunch somewhere, dinner somewhere, and that's just reaping the benefits of the things that you're entitled to, and what the community is giving back to our vets. And I'm not mad at you guys for doing that. And plus, I'm on a healthy tip now, so I don't need to be eating all that stuff anyways, like I was before. Yes, Lord, we thank God for the veterans, but yes, everything that is included in the veteran benefits, whether it's from on Veterans Day and beyond Veterans Day, the things that we're entitled to and the resources that are out there. If you're a vet and you're not utilizing the VA and getting services and resources from them for certain things, for your health care or for schooling or for work resources or whatever, you need to get involved. You need to get registered in the VA system and get yourself acclimated to the things that they provide for us, because we need to be using this stuff, because we never know when there's an administration or whatever that comes into office that might take some of these benefits away. So make sure you're definitely utilizing what's provided through the VA system and those added benefits to us. What else I have? The VA, let me pull up some stats or whatever for you guys. So we don't have any more Army vets checking in. So let me go to my Marines. So if you're a Marine vet and you're listening and checking in with the podcast, hit us up in the chat and let us know where you're checking in from. So all the Marine vets, if you're online right now or listening to our podcast, hit us up in the chat and let us know where you're checking in from. We would love to salute you for Veterans Day and to make sure that you are recognized for your service and sacrifice that you have provided to the country. So if you are a Marine vet, we are recognizing the Marine vets right now. So if you're Marine vets, go ahead and chime in the chat and let us know where you're checking in from. Now, again, our branches of service are included are the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, and Coast Guard. And now we have Space Force. So, a veteran status is, categorized by a person who have served and been separated from the military, active duty. So if you're a military vet, and I know a lot of people doing Veterans Day recognize the military and vets. So if you're still active military and still actively in the military, a lot of establishments still provide you with that service of recognizing you as well. But officially and technically, a veteran is someone who has served, that is not still serving, but has served. So, and that means they're no longer serving. And they have received that DD 214, that magic golden ticket that established them as a official vet from the armed services. So, Marine vets, if you're listening to us, if you're a Marine vet and you're chiming in, listening to us today, hit us up in the chat box so we can kind of recognize you as a Marine vet. So do we have any Marine vets in here? I know my uncle Ellis Hanks was a Marine vet, is a Marine vet, and out of Moultrie, Georgia, but he lives currently in Albany, Georgia. So he is a Marine vet. I worked with a couple past Marine vets that went to my church in Georgia. Terry Frazier, he was a Marine vet. So if Terry, if you're listening, happy Veterans Day to you. I think there's some at BMZ. Who is a Marine at BMZ? I'm trying to think who was a Marine at BMZ. I'm trying to think of my church people that I know that was vets, because we always celebrate that at church. But so Marine vets, if you're listening in, check in the chat and let us know where you're checking in for. We're going to move on, and we're going to go to the Navy. So if you're a Navy vet and you're listening into our podcast, please take this opportunity and check in with us through the chat and let us know where you're checking in from. We would love to salute you for Veterans Day. So if you're a Navy vet and you are listening to our podcast right now, chime in the chat and let us know where you're chiming in from, so we can salute you for Veterans Day and acknowledge you for your sacrifice and service to your country. So all Navy vets. And I know we had one of our couples that was on earlier this year, and for the follow-up 1 year anniversary of Chit Chat Podcast episode, Tisha Dotson Hurd. She's Hurd now. Her new last name. They got married, so she's a Navy vet. So I do know her as a Navy vet. I think Errol Scandrick is a Navy vet from my church in Georgia. So happy Veterans Day to you, Navy vets. You seamen, or I don't know what they be calling y'all, sailors and seamens. So happy Veterans Day to our Navy. And if you're a Navy person and you're listening to the podcast, please chime in to the chat and let us know where you're chiming in from. All right, we're going to go on to the Coast Guard. So if you're a Coast Guard and you're checking in with us on this Veterans Day episode of Chit Chat Podcast, where we chat all things women, please chime in right now and let us know where you're chiming in from. We would love to salute you and recognize you for Veterans Day. So all our Coast Guard vets, if you was Coast Guard, look, I have never known any Coast Guard vets, but until I started working for Department of Homeland Security. Almost everybody entirely that works for Homeland Security was either prior Navy or Coast Guard. I have no idea why the Coast Guard is such a big employment to Department of Homeland Security, but they are. A lot of Coast Guard vets go right into Homeland Security after active duty or after they separate from the military service. So yeah, when I got up here, I was like, God, everybody's Coast Guard vets. So normally you see big numbers of people like Army or Air Force or whatever, especially in like big cities, but it's a lot of Coast Guard, in my employment. I was like, wow, it's a lot of Coast Guard vets. But if you're a Coast Guard vet and you're chiming into our podcast, hit our chat, let us know where you're chiming in from. We would love to recognize you. So happy Veterans Day to you guys. Please, please, please go and enjoy some of the entitlements that these vets are having at different establishments in the different cities, whether it's a restaurant or whatever. It might be a percentage off it, give you oil change, whatever the case may be, whatever added benefit that these cities and states are providing for Veterans Day. Please make sure you go out there and try to take part in some of that, because it's awesome to have. It's awesome to see. I try to make sure that I utilize, everything entitled to me, and I don't get a chance to, and there's things, I have entitlements and benefits from my job. And then I have, stuff from the VA. So I'll be trying to, balance it or whatever. But yeah, make sure you utilize these benefits. So if you got Coast Guard vets and you're listening to us, chime in the chat and we'll make sure that we recognize you. But happy Veterans Day to our Coast Guard vets. And last but not least, we're going to be recognizing our Air Force vets. Hey, the best service, the Air Force vet. So if you're an Air Force vet and you're listening to our podcast, please chime into our chat and let us recognize you as a vet for your time and service that you sacrifice to your country. And plus, we want to make sure that you take part in some of the benefits, added benefits on tomorrow as a veteran that is laid out among different cities and states. So most of them are restaurants, free meals, and you can't beat that. So, okay, we got Navy right there, our Navy person checking in. Who's that, Jada? Huh? Oh, my Navy person, post your name because it doesn't say. Somebody said, y'all better hit chicken salad chick up. Look, we don't even have a chicken salad chick up here. I think it's one is opening up somewhere. I can't remember where it's opening up at, but somewhere it's opening up in like the DMV area, but it ain't nowhere near me. So, but yeah, I love chicken salad chick. Yes, that was one of my favorite places to go grab. One of my free meals was chicken. We have a chicken. It's in Fairfax. Oh, Jay said we have one in Fairfax. So I might go to chicken salad chick tomorrow and get my free meal then. Oh, it's Tisha. Hey, I recognized you. I called your name out. You probably hadn't logged in yet, but I recognize you, Miss Heard, because I was like, I know a few Navy people. So, and you was one of them. So I recognized you. So I told Adam that we got to go tomorrow. Yes, I'm telling you, go get those benefits. I was talking about, I hope Gerald is listening or he catches on this, but Gerald Holden, Air Force vet, he's up here in the DMV area. We were stationed together in Okinawa. And when I tell you, before I moved to here, DC, he used to post all the places, establishment that he's gone throughout the whole day of Veterans Day. I mean, from like breakfast, lunch, all the way to dinner. And he would post the pictures where he's at, all this, his meal, everything. And I'm like, oh my God, people are really like doing this thing, but I can't do it. I'll be doing one meal. If I do a breakfast, I ain't doing nothing else. If I do lunch or dinner, I ain't doing nothing else. But yeah, you can gain some weight. I'm not trying to gain no weight. We eating right. I'm telling you, girl, I'm not trying to pile it back on either. I'm like, this is my maintenance phase. I'm trying to maintain and stay that way. I wish I had tuned in early. Oh, and no problem. We just look. I just gave some stats about veterans, the services that are out there that VA provide, the special recognition we get when we're applying for jobs, and the preferences that we are able to get and receive because of that. The letters that most people are will receive or get in the form, the DD 214 form that people get to establish them as a vet, officially as a vet. So just gave out that information so that way if anybody's listening and they're thinking about retiring or leaving the military or whatever the case may be, they have some of those stats so they can recognize, oh, I remember her saying that, let me get registered in the VA system. Yeah, your SF-15 will have all that information. What it would do, it was look at your DD-214, and it's going to transfer what's on your DD-214 on an SF-15, and it's going to establish like what your preference would be. If you 5 points, 10 points, based off, if there's a disability rating for you, all of that will be added on there as well. So, yes, please use that when applying for USA jobs. Yes, that's what I told them. It's definitely a must, and make sure that you upload everything that requires it for the job. If they want to see your 214, make sure your 214 is attached with that resume when you're applying for a job as well. So that way, they can recognize the resume and the submission of that resume. But so Air Force vets, one more shout out. If you're listening to us, please chime in the chat so we can recognize you for Veterans Day and make sure that you're recognized for your sacrifice and time to the armed services. So as we're looking to see if anybody else is going to chime in, I just want to say, I know that there's different services in all of the branches, but we all have the same mentality. We're going in there to do a service, and in doing and providing that service, we're sacrificing time, we're sacrificing our freedom, and in our lives half of the time as we're serving. And so that's big. People like to tend to minimize that. Don't minimize that, because I was one of them. I'm like, child, it was nothing. I just did a deployment. It was just a deployment, but at the same time, I wasn't hurt during that deployment. I wasn't injured or whatever. I came back with all my limbs. And everybody can't say that. And you know and so we have to not minimize so much of the things that we do, when we're especially when we're serving for our country. And when you take that oath of enlistment, that is very important. That's you signing your life away to your country. And so and it shouldn't be taken lightly. So thank you, from Chit Chat Podcast, where we chat all things women. We definitely want to make sure we recognize you guys today ahead of the holiday tomorrow, and to ensure and let you know that we appreciate all of your time and your service to your country. Being a fellow vet, I understand. That time away from people, your kids, all that kind of stuff. I had to leave my baby when she was 6 months old. And you talking about tough, that was tough. So there's times that we're put in tough situations, and we have to make those sacrifices. And, but looking back on it, I think I would do it all over again if I had to, because the benefits and the things that I receive now is such a greater reward of all the things that I probably, complained about during the time I was serving. But I'm reaping the benefits, and my children are reaping the benefits of that time and that sacrifice. So I will most definitely do it over again if I had to. So if you're somebody out there looking to get some veteran status or looking to serve your country, don't take it lightly. Get out there and, research the branches and see what you'll be a better fit in. Research the jobs that you're looking to apply and get in, and and do your thing. The military is an awesome way of not only providing a service to your country and reaping the benefits that it provides to you, paycheck every month, medical benefits, all that stuff that it provides for you and your family monthly. There's other added benefits that go beyond just the job. Meeting people. I mean, all my friends that I have from the military, I've had the entire time that I've served or when I was in the military. So my best friend, Libra, we met when I was stationed in Tampa, and we've been together ever since. So, it's been that kind of thing, like over 20 something years. So, and a majority of my friends who were prior military and that we were stationed together one way or another, we've been friends for just that long. So, that's what the military, and that's what, it provides. And when you become a vet, it doesn't go away. We can be 5 states away from each other and we're still communicating. We still, if there's stuff that needs to be done medically, or, we got questions, we chime in with each other, feed off each other, and all those kinds of things, and help each other in that need. So, but we definitely want to salute you guys, and hope that you guys have a great holiday on tomorrow. Definitely go out there and check out some of the benefits that is provided to our veterans. And if there's any parades or ceremonies that are out there, definitely check those out as well. So you definitely would not, definitely, if you ain't got nothing to do, if you're off anyways for the holiday, I would say try to find something. And whether it's a ceremony, a parade, or something, or whatever. So that way the acknowledgement of the vets are still, put up in the forefront, because sometimes I get forgotten. And until Veterans Day or whatever. But, there's so many vets out there still, in need of services and stuff that they're not getting. So it's a daily push by our Veterans Administration to make sure that our vets are well taken care of, that they're not homeless, they're not needing food, they're not needing medicine, medication, or whatever treatment or whatever they need. That they definitely get it. So that's why it's so important when it's voting time to vote, because those benefits can easily get cut when it comes to different administrations providing services and being a part, and being in office. They can cut budgets, they can cut benefits at any given time, and we definitely don't want that for our veterans because they definitely need that. So when you're voting, think about those things. If you're a vet, you got to think about those important things that is important to you and your family that the VA is providing from your veteran status, and going forward, anything else that they might be a vet that might be entitled to, based off of your veteran status. So be mindful of that. There's so much that you can get and get done and accomplish for being a veteran. Certain states provide no taxes if you own a home in certain states, so people don't have to pay the taxes on their homes in certain states based off their VA rating and status. So it's a lot of benefits to it. We put in the time and the sacrifice, and we reap the rewards of the resources and the benefits that are provided to us. And if you're not, get on board, get registered in the VA system, and get started. So it's never too late. But that's all I have for today, guys. Thank you guys for checking in with us. Again, we salute you guys. Any Army, Air Force, Marine, Navy, or Coast Guard veterans that are part of our podcast. We want to tell you, thank you. We want to thank you. Thank a vet. So if you know one, see one tomorrow or whatever, make sure you thank a vet, because all that time and sacrifice that they provided, a simple thank you makes a difference. Trust me. But with that being said, I just want to remind you guys, next week episode is supposed to be our women's panel episode. So we're still looking for some women to be part of that women's panel. If you already reached out and said that you wanted to do it, we already got you down. But we definitely need some more women on the women panel. But because we're having a women panel and the men suggested that when we had the men's panel the last time, I'm looking for my men to check in next week, because y'all got to be the one asking the questions. Y'all wanted it to be the roles to be switched, and for the women to be questioned, and you guys have the availability, ask them questions. Well, we listen and you got it. So we got some women already have volunteers say, hey, I want to be on the panel, and we're okay with that, and we're looking for some more. So if you're interested, please hit us up in the chat here. We'll go back and look through the chat if you're interested, and then we'll reach out to you or whatever. But we need to know no later than by Tuesday of this week, so that way we can make provisions of who we have and who we don't have. So definitely. So women 18 and up, if you're interested in being on our women's panel, please hit us up in the chat or send us a message to our Chit Chat Pod group on Facebook, or to our email with chitchatpod@gmail.com. So that's chick, CHIC, chat, CHAT, pod, POD @gmail.com. And we will definitely hit you back and let you know that you have been confirmed to be on the panel, and that information will be sent out to you later in the week for next Sunday's episode. So ladies, come on. The men showed up big. I need y'all to show up big. They requested this, and you guys requested it when we wanted to do the men. The men showed up, so I need you women to show up, and I need you men to show up so y'all can question these women, which I want to question them about. Okay, so that's how we're gonna do it. So we listen, and that's what we're gonna bring it for you guys. So November 20th, is that next week? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, next week is that women's panel episode. So is it that week? Is it that Sunday? Let me let Jade confirm. The 17th? Oh, it's the 17th. I'm sorry, y'all. It's November 17th. Yeah, because I think it's Thanksgiving after that one, ain't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we won't do probably won't do episode on the Thanksgiving weekend. So yeah. So ladies, sign up if you're interested in being on the Women's Panel. We need to know by Tuesday. Hit us in the chat here, or hit us up on the Gmail account or in our Facebook group. We will chat with you guys next week. Until then, happy Veterans Day to our veterans, and go enjoy some of the benefits of that on tomorrow with your family. Don't let it just be a day off. Go hang out and do some things for Veterans Day. But with that being said, you guys have a great evening. We will talk to you next week. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you're on our Instagram, YouTube. We're also on what else? We're also on Facebook, YouTube. I'm trying to think of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. So make sure you're liking and sharing and adding people or whatever. So invite people as well, especially for next week for our panel. So definitely invite people for that. But you guys have a great week. We're so glad that you chimed in with us today for our veterans episode on Chit Chat Pod, where we chat all things women. So we will see you guys next week. Have a good one. Bye.